Remember that big tech outage that caused chaos all over the world? Well, one airline wants to be compensated for all that trouble, Ari.
And just a little bit of money, by the way, Cynthia, about $350 million US. Yeah, just a few pennies here and there. But yeah, it's Delta Airlines who wants compensation. This is according to insider reports that they have consulted with lawyers and they're putting a case together about why CrowdStrike should pay that money. CrowdStrike being the cybersecurity firm that took responsibility for last week's outage that led to, well, many flight cancellations among other impacts. And Delta Airlines had to cancel over 5,000 flights in the days following the outage. Now, the report details how the outage may have cost Delta $350 million, wants CrowdStrike to take the responsibility after a faulty update to its systems on Microsoft devices was installed, and it took Delta Airlines the longest of any airline to recover, hence those 5,000 or over 5,000 flights that were canceled. We'll see if this actually develops into a big settlement for Delta Airlines, but CrowdStrike definitely has a lot of eyes on it in the fallout of that outage, Cynthia. Today, the stock actually fell more than 10%, that being for CrowdStrike.
Interesting. But Delta's going to have to explain why it was hit harder than other airlines for some reason.
We'll find out, I guess, in the coming days if this actually comes to fruition.
Okay. Now, that tech outage, Ari, impacted Microsoft devices around the world, but it wasn't the company's fault. And we're getting an idea of what Microsoft's bottom line looks like.
Yeah, it's interesting, actually, you say that about the outage connected to Microsoft. I'll get into that too, Cynthia. But first, we're getting into the results of its latest quarter. Microsoft showed its cards today after the closing bell, and it was pretty good off the face of it, with Microsoft beating on analyst estimates for both profit and revenue for the latest reporting quarter. But analysts really want to know about cloud computing growth and specifically artificial intelligence. And Microsoft's Azure unit is connected to both of those sectors. Now, growth for Azure and Microsoft actually missed on analyst estimates. It increased by 29% last quarter, but that was expected to be 30%. So now investors are concerned. Why are things lagging behind? If anything, this could mean that Microsoft is a bellwether for artificial intelligence, potentially slowing down. So actually, as of this report, Cynthia, the stock is down about 5% after hours. Now, Cynthia, you did mention about the outage from last week. It's actually not the best timing because today there was an outage reported amongst Microsoft Office applications and its cloud services. So it's not a good look considering the CrowdStrike outage affected Microsoft devices.
Interesting. All right. Now, a cannabis producer is branching out and, oh, forgive the pun, riding high.
Oh, my goodness. Let me get into this. Tilray Brands is the company. Now, you probably know it. It's a cannabis producer. At least that's what it's formally known as, one of Canada's biggest, actually. So it reported quarterly results today, which did beat on the top and bottom line for sales. And you would assume off the top of that, okay, probably sold a lot of cannabis products, right? Yes, but there's more to it. Turns out Tilray is pretty diversified. It actually showed that it reported beverage alcohol sales saw a jump of 127% last quarter. It also makes cannabis-infused beverages, but this comes after Tilray began to diversify last year, buying several craft beers, including that Shock Top, as well as Montauk Brewery and Red Hook Brewery. All three were from Anheuser-Busch, and Tilray Brands decided it wanted to diversify and also get into alcohol, or at least craft beer. So it actually propelled a lot of these earnings results. So it's cannabis-infused drinks. It's also hemp hearts, apparently, like you might put in your granola or your smoothies.
Okay.
So it's a lot more to Tilray than just cannabis itself.
Well, I guess it's good for any company to have lots of different points of revenue.
Absolutely, and seems to be working for Tilray so far.
All right. Ari, as always, great to have you join us. Thank you.
You as well.